Now here in Gracetube, this is our first video, and we will talk about interesting things here. And I hope you will be interested in learning about the background of the Bible. And I have found a good material for that, written by Josh McDowell in his book, Evidence That Demands a Verdict. Evidence That Demands a Verdict, yes, by Josh McDowell. Now we'll talk about the uniqueness of the Bible. Unique in its continuity. Okay? And I hope that you will go through to it. You will know the background of how was the Bible written. Okay? Now here, it's so interesting that the Bible was written in 1,600 year span. Can you imagine that? 1,600 year span. In some books I have read 1,500 years. Well, more or less 1,600 years. I don't know if there's other books that is written in that kind of length, okay, of time span. And here we could see that the Bible was written over 60 generations. Imagine 60 generations. Written by 40 plus writers. I call it writers because I believe that the Bible has only one author, and that is God. Okay, and this Bible is so interesting because these 40 writers was from every walk of life, including kings, peasants, philosophers, fishermen, poets, statesmen, scholars, and others. So iba-iba ang nagsulat ng Bible. And example, we have Moses, a political leader, trained in the University of Egypt. We have Peter, a fisherman, Amos, herdsman, Joshua, military general, Nehemiah, cupbearer, Daniel, prime minister. We have here Dr. Luke, okay? We have King Solomon, King David, we have Matthew, a tax collector, we have Paul, a rabbi, he's a lawyer. And also the Bible was written in different places. We have Moses, written the Bible in the wilderness. We have Jeremiah in dungeon, Daniel on a hillside, and in a palace. Okay, Paul inside the prison walls. While in prison, Paul was writing. And we have Luke while traveling, and John, who has written the book of Revelation, was on the Isle of Patmos. And also others while in the rigors of a military campaign. And you know that the Bible was written in different times. David in times of war, Solomon in times of peace. And also the Bible was written in different moods. Some are in the heights of joy, and some are writing it in the depths of sorrow and despair. Written on 3 continents: Asia, and Africa, and Europe. Well, these people are really traveling. And about its languages, it has 3 languages that are involved in the Bible. We have the Hebrew, which was the language of the Old Testament. In the book of 2 Kings chapter 18 verse 26 to 28, the Hebrew language was called the language of Judah. And in Isaiah 19 verse 18, it is called the language of Canaan. And another language was Aramaic. Okay, Aramaic, which was the lingua franca of the Near East until the time of Alexander the Great, which is 6th century BC to the 4th century BC. And the Greek, okay, the Greek New Testament language. Okay, so the New Testament, Matthew to Revelation, was written in the Greek language, which was the international language at the time of Christ. That's it. And the subject matter of the Bible is most of it are being controversial. Okay, it's controversial subjects. It create opposing opinions. when discussed while being mentioned. Bible authors spoke on hundreds of controversial subjects, but these authors or these writers are in harmony. That is what is amazing about the Bible. They are in harmony. They're the continuity of the thought from Genesis to Revelation, from example from the prophecies in the Old Testament while it is being fulfilled in the New Testament. And there is an unfolding story of the main topic about the Bible, which is God's redemption of men. Okay? Now, just what was says here, Geisler and Nix, A General Introduction to the Bible by Moody Press, 1968. Okay, this is a book by Geisler and Nix, and they said the paradise lost of the Genesis becomes the paradise regained of Revelation. Okay, whereas the gate to the tree of life is closed in Genesis, it is opened forevermore in the book of Revelation. Bruce, the books and the parchments, Fleming H. Revel, observes that any part of the human body can only be properly explained in reference to the whole body. And any part of the Bible can only be properly explained in reference to the whole Bible. So the Bible explains itself. Okay? And you could really understand the Bible when you read the whole book and you have the idea. In 2 Timothy 2:15, it says that the study to show thyself approved unto God, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. So you need to rightly divide the word of truth. You need to learn its correct divisions, correct categories, and so there are rules that we will discuss later as we go along. We are just here to know first the backgrounds about the Bible. And Bruce here concludes that the Bible at first sight appears to be a collection of literature, mainly Jewish. So if we inquire into the circumstances under which the various biblical documents were written, we find that they were written at intervals over a space of nearly 1,400 years. The writers wrote in various lands, from Italy, in the west of Mesopotamia, and possibly Persia in the east. And the writers themselves were a heterogeneous number of people, not only separated from each other by hundreds of years and hundreds of miles, but belonging to the most diverse walks of life. In the ranks we have kings, herdsmen, soldiers, legislators, fishermen, statesmen, courtiers, priests, and prophets, a tent-making rabbi, and a Gentile physician, not to speak of others of whom we know nothing apart from the writing they have left us. The writing themselves belongs to a great variety of literary types. They include history, law, civil, criminal, ethical, ritual, sanitary, religious poetry, didactic criticism, lyric poetry, parable, allegory, biography, personal correspondence, personal memoirs, and diaries, in addition to the distinctively biblical types of prophecy and apocalyptic. So that is what Bruce have said. Okay. For all that, the Bible is not simply an anthology. There is unity which binds the whole together. An anthology is a compilation or compiled by an anthologist, but no anthologist compiled the Bible. Conclusion of continuity, a comparison with the great books of the Western world, if you will compare it with other books, a representative of the great books of the Western world came to my house recruiting salesmen for their service. He spreads out the chart of the great books of Western world series. He spent 5 minutes talking to us about the great books of the Western world series, and we spent an hour and a half talking to him about the greatest book. I challenged him to take just 10 of the authors, all from one walk of life. one generation, one place, one time, one mood, one continent, and one language. Okay? So, if we compare these books with the Bible, so he was challenged to just take 10 authors from uh, the same walk of life, the same generation, the same place, the same time, the same mood, in one continent, one language, okay, and to talk about just one controversial subject. Now, the Bible speaks of hundreds with harmony and agreement. Wow, that's amazing about the Bible. With 40 different writers, different moods, different backgrounds, different generations, but they are in harmony and in agreement. And then I asked him, okay, would they, the authors, agree? Would they, the authors, agree? You know, he posed and then replied, no. What would you have? I retorted. Immediately he said, a conglomeration. So 2 days later, he committed his life to Christ. So that's what happened. The theme of the Bible is salvation. So this man that Josh McDowell is talking was saved because he have seen the amazing book that we have, or books actually. Okay. So why all this? Very simple. Any man sincerely seeking truth would consider a book with the above uniqueness. Our Bible, brothers and sisters, is unique in its continuity. Thank you for listening, and thank you for seeing this video, and I hope you will enjoy it and subscribe in our YouTube channel. And may God bless you, and see you again next video.